Greetings, Culture Warriors. This is Jeff Vieira, author of Culture is Everything, and your host for this latest dispatch from the front. Another pandemic-related story to share with you today. This one's from CNBC. Bad news for this company and for its customers, surely. I am a customer of this company. I'm generally an admirer of this company. From CNBC, Megan Graham, Sonos cuts 12% of global employees due to the coronavirus pandemic. Speaker maker Sonos plans to cut 12% of its global workforce due to uncertainty and challenges stemming from COVID-19 pandemic, the company announced in a filing on Wednesday. It's also closing its retail store in New York City and 6 satellite offices. The Santa Barbara-based company said in a May letter to shareholders that it began a review of planned investments and implemented initial actions in March to reduce operating expenses and preserve liquidity. It said that those actions included cutting marketing investments, managing and tightening inventory, and eliminating some discretionary operating expenses. The company's stock was up more than 1% Wednesday morning. It wasn't immediately clear how many employees the company currently has, but the company's investor relations website says it has 1,450 employees. The filing adds that the company will provide further detail on its business and cost savings resulting from initiatives when it reports its fiscal third quarter 20 results. Sonos estimates the terminations and site closures will cost an estimated $25 million to $30 million in restructuring and related impairment charges, the majority of which it expects to incur in its fiscal third quarter. On Tuesday, the company's board of directors also approved a 20% reduction in base salary of the company's CEO between July 1st and December 31st, and for other executive officers between July 1st and September 30th of this year. All board members will also forego their annual cash retainer between July 1st and December 31st. Okay, so some sad news here. I've been a Sonos customer for a very long time. Basically, my house has, just about every room I've got a Sonos speaker in it. Sonos had some missteps a little bit earlier, about 6 months ago or so, when they announced planned obsolescence for some of their older speakers. Now, these speakers are not cheap. They cost typically $400, $500. Can cost up to $700 for some of the bigger soundbar kind of or subwoofer kind of speakers. And once you've got your house outfitted with these wireless speakers, you really don't want to now, a few years later, have to go in and replace them all. Fortunately, the outcry was such that the CEO stepped back from that plan, said, no, we'll continue to support them. Bear in mind, we are coming out with new features, and it's not possible to retrofit those new features into these speakers. So, they may not have, over time you may be missing out on some new features from the new speakers, which is fair enough. But they had to walk that back. Since then, they've launched their new line, rebranded it. Previously, they had a different kind of numbering scheme for them. They've kept basically the heart of the numbering scheme, but they've simplified it. And they've added some nice new capabilities to their newest speakers. But again, if you want to... and the company does offer you a bit of a reduction, 30% off to change out your speakers. Basically, they brick them remotely. Once you get your new speaker and you kind of sign it up. So the bottom line of it is they've just kind of relaunched their product line. The pandemic hits. Of course, people don't have money to buy it. I'm in that case. I would love to have one of their new Move speakers, for example. Completely wireless, portable speaker. But we can't afford it right now. And many other customers are no doubt in that boat. That's got to be what's driving the significant reductions that Sonos is showing here. And in particular, it's serious because they're talking about marketing investments. Well, Sonos basically has grown in large part because the brand has been so out there in the marketplace, that people would give it a try with one speaker, then they like what they saw and grow that way. So cutting their marketing budget is an indication that their financials are serious. And given that they probably had to invest significantly in these new speakers, whilst rather unexpectedly having to continue to kind of support the older speakers, I suspect that it's created a real cash crunch for them. The good news is when you look at these time periods, on the sacrifices that the leadership is making, it seems like they're hoping we'll start to come out of this in the fourth quarter calendar year of this year. I hope that's the case. Also, it says something about Sonos that in cutting its workforce by 12%, that the leadership is also making some significant sacrifices in terms of their compensation. It's a hard situation because the pandemic isn't their fault. It was it was a timing issue for a black swan event that you really couldn't predict would happen. And yet they've got, the needs of the business are such that they're going to have to make that sacrifice. And so they're betting that they're not going to lose some of their key leadership talent in the process on there. Hopefully that's another sign of strength in their culture, in that they have some loyalty among their leadership and board members. We'll see how that plays out. It's also sad because Sonos has been known for their innovation in a lot of ways. They've built in capabilities over time, such as allowing you to broadcast from your Apple devices to your speakers, which is a very useful thing. You got a house full of speakers. Man, it'd be great just to be able to whip up your iPhone, pull up your music playlist, and be able to shoot it directly to the speakers wirelessly. For a variety of reasons throughout most of the life of the product, that hasn't been possible. And of course, Apple has its own speakers that compete, and that's part of the reason for that. But Sonos has done a nice job securing those partnerships. They also continue to really do a good job on the wireless technology and the noise reduction, noise canceling kind of technology that makes the speakers sound better and better as you move forward. And of course, generally speaking, the network, the wireless network that the speakers operate on has been very reliable, more reliable than my regular internet network, actually. So it's kind of a shame that a company that prides itself on kind of continuous innovation and bringing great features into the marketplace is going to have to slow down that train a little bit. That's also when they say that they've got to cut inventories. What it means is they're not selling enough of their products, so the inventory levels are building. They got to get some of that inventory out there before they kind of resume production and resume innovating. It just extends out the product life cycles more than anticipated. Now, the good news for customers is because they've got to move some inventory, there should be some sales coming soon. And maybe that will entice people to get back on the Sonos bandwagon, pick up an extra speaker too, and keep the company moving forward. I hope that's what happens anyway. It's a great product. I would hate to lose the capability of what the product brings us because Sonos as a company winds up failing in the wake of this crisis. But surely it's a brand that's of enough interest to people that it may get acquired by someone else ultimately. But hopefully the product will continue. It really is a very good product. I say that as an unpaid testimonial. I'm glad I've invested what I've invested in Sonos. Thank you, and have a great day.
Bye.